Well, I thought it was it was going to be a challenge for us, and it was going to take both sides of the ball. There was going to be times when the defense would have to set the offense up, and vice versa, and that's kind of how that game played out. We just punted the one time. It happened to be our first drive, and for the defense to go out there, ultimately turn the ball over. When offensively we really moved the ball pretty effectively. Beyond that, the defense continued to put pressure on them. You open up a 24-0 lead, and they weren't going to go away. And their score before the half, certainly kept them in it. And then the score after the half did more of that. But our guys continued to answer, and that's a good team. We just beat. We found a way to get it done offensively. We found a way to get it done defensively, and here we are with another opportunity to play as this team, to play in the semifinals, to play here in Bozeman. The crowd was phenomenal tonight, and we're clearly going to need that again next Saturday. So, really proud of our guys for just understanding this isn't going to be easy this time of year, and we got to be able to hang in there, trust one another, and play our tails off, and we'll find a way. So that's what we did tonight.
Coach, 27 yards on the ground at halftime, big second half on the ground. What adjustments were made during halftime?
Well, I would say this: we weren't quite to 200 yards passing. That's the ebb and the flow there. What they were doing as far as selling out in the run game, allowed opportunities to throw the ball, and I think we were 17 of 20 at halftime. So our ability to go out there and throw the football to counteract what they were doing to stop the run, was what we needed to do, and ultimately, we did find a way to break through in the second half. So I don't think it was any magical adjustments or anything. It was just, they had to adjust to us throwing the football, and our guys, I think continued to go after it. I thought both running backs ran really hard, and we found a way to become balanced while it was tale of two halves as far as the way our yards went.
All right, Kenny, just your 2 strip sacks, obviously both led to 14 points there. Just how do you kind of reflect on those 2 big plays right now?
Yeah, I think our back end did a great job of giving, us time up front to get home. And then, we made a good call on third down to go get that first one. Coach Bapp and Coach Howe put us in a good position to be successful, and just took advantage of it. But yeah, really good play by, Zach Cruz to get the first one, and then the second one, Carson Williams to go pick up that second fumble was a big heads up play by him, and just trying to set the offense up as best we can. So
another drive you guys had that they were driving down the field, and Caden gets another pick. How can you describe this, what Caden's been doing over these last 5 games?
Yeah, I mean, he's playing at an elite level. I think he's the best defender in the country, one of the best players in the country, and, he deserves all the praise and the accolades he gets. He just keeps showing up for us every single week and setting our offense up, as best he can, and, really saving us on defense a few times. And, he's a guy we lean on to make plays for us, and he shows up every single time. So,
Justin, how important was it for the offense to come out, put up points, put on a show after last week and being on primetime national TV today?
Yeah, it's huge, and obviously you want to do that every week. Last week, I feel like we, did do some things as well. It was a good defense, so I give them credit as well. But it's about just bouncing back each week. People can say what they want about the offense, and that's fine. We just can't let that doubt creep in, ever, because it's more of a mental game, I think, than anything. Is you hear the noise, you hear all this, and it's like, all right, we just gotta stick to what we know. And we felt that presence, each day in practice. I thought we had a great week of practice. So I'm just proud of the way the guys, came out. 11 guys were executing on most of the plays. So yeah, great job.
Seemed like Stephen F just wasn't really going to go away tonight, and you guys got that. I think that last possession, or not second to last possession, about 10 minutes to go, and were able to just grind down the clock. What was the feeling in the huddle and throughout that drive?
Yeah, obviously when you get a drive like that to close out the game, it's huge. Wish we would have scored there, but I think credit to Stephen F. Austin. They didn't go away. It's not easy to do that here at Bobcat Stadium, and those dudes kept fighting. And we knew it was going to be a dogfight. I mean, they responded right before half, and but having that 8-minute drive or whatever it was, it's huge. Just to be able to run the ball. And we've had a couple of those this year, so I'm just happy with the way the guys finished the game, and it's super important.
Justin, I'm just curious what you saw in your interception and just also being able to come back from that.
Yeah. That's elementary stuff, just not throwing across my body, on a rollout. And, I'm better than that. I know I'm better than that. I got to get to a point where, we're down in the red zone and I'm not forcing plays. That's really what that was at the end of the day, trying to do too much. It's unacceptable. But, I am happy with the way I bounced back. Next drive, went out there and completed a couple passes, got those points right back. And, Coach Vigen was talking to me saying, hey, can't let this affect you. And I thought I handled that well, but it shouldn't happen in the first place.
And then Brent, I guess just any thoughts on the penalties tonight? I think there were 12 or 13 for you guys.
Yeah, I know we had several procedure penalties, and then they had a couple delay of games. So I think that was this balance there of whatever they were doing get us moving. They got called for it twice. We got called for it way too many times, and fortunately we did get the couple calls we did. Now, a few pass interferences, bang plays. I just, we want our guys to play hard, and some of those, two different types of penalties. It's the pre-snaps where we absolutely need to eliminate those, and then the aggressive penalties. I think that's the one number that jumps out at me. 12 penalties for 100 yards. Where would we have been with that number not being quite what it was? Hard telling, but I thought we managed that. We didn't let some of those things linger, and ultimately we overcame, which is way too many penalties and way too many yards.
Coach and Justin, for both of you, your 3rd and 20 touchdown pass, and just overall in the game, Coach, being able to get some 3rd downs and then their ability to keep moving the chains too on a lot of those 4th downs. What were just your thoughts on those plays? Well,
3rd down and winning 3rd down is important. You hate to see yourself in a 3rd and 20 like that, but that was a huge play, and it was a check down, so it was a good timely pass by Justin, and then a great finish by Adam. The 4th down plays. Anytime a team's in that mode where they got an extra down. I know it says 1 of 2. It seemed like there was more than that. I would guess during the game, but that's. Okay, you give up 1st down and 4th down. You got to keep playing. I thought our defense, continued to do that. But we were up at that time, and for them to make a couple plays and us to get some penalties on those plays, that's just the way it played out. So we got to win 3rd down when it comes to how our offense does against their offense, or I think we ultimately, the fact that we only had 9 3rd downs is a win in itself.
Yeah, and I would say, 3rd downs are huge. Tells a lot about the game, and obviously don't want to see ourselves in 3rd and 20, but what I saw in that play, it was kind of like a vertical concept for us, and a lot of coverage, so I was just trying to get the yards back, probably trying to get a good kick for Miles, and the rest Adam really took care of. So just executing on those small things. We don't want to get into that situation, but I think it was good for us to bounce back when we did get in those situations.
Did you see that right away? Because typically 3rd and long like that, especially in the red zone, you don't really see man-to-man that much. So was that something you picked up on right away?
Yeah, I think it was more of a zone look, but it was, I was going to the boundary first because I felt like the pre-snap coverage was better there because we were in the middle of the field, and kind of Adam was just in my line of sight, trying to get him the ball. He's a playmaker, and that play's a good play for us. So just continuing to get our guys the ball and let them go make plays.
Kenny, not a lot of teams have scored against you guys in the 3rd quarter this year. I guess just what was the mentality of the defense just when SFA started kind of getting some things rolling offensively in the 2nd half?
Yeah, we did a good job in the 1st half, but we didn't win the 4-minute. They scored right before, and then they come out and score again. And I think a big thing for us was just staying in the fight and not letting it cloud our judgment or panic in any situation. We've been stopping them all game, and we just had to get back to doing that. And we made a few mistakes, but at the end of the day, we're a good team, we're a good defense that sticks together and plays hard for each other. And so we just had to kind of bind together and focus on what our job is every single play, and just playing 111 football. And we were able to go get some stops there at the end, but yeah, can't let teams score in the third like that. We got to be able to come out and set the tone into the second half when we're starting on defense. But I thought, I think the guys, handled it well. I think we bounced back, and I think we bounded together and found a way to get it done. So,
Coach, no Mortimer, or you didn't really allow Mortimer to get going in the punt return game, and then Deming's not playing. How did just those things affect the game?
Well, you punt once, that helps. I know that. And I thought, he had 3 catches for 9 yards. And I don't think they used them a terrible amount on offense anyways, but yeah, certainly the punt return piece was big. And yeah, I don't even, know what happened with Demings. I know, the other guy was pretty good too. Number 12 he was a really good corner. Their DBs were good, so I'm sure they missed him, but I know that, I don't know what happened to him. I just, Coach Carthel said he wasn't gonna play, and, everybody this time of year maybe is without a guy or two, and, play the guys that are out there and defend them the best you can.
Coach, you always talk about playing complementary football, and tonight kind of hidden in there a little bit with Miles Sandstead. He kind of came through with a few good field goals for you and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. The first one, I think we got a penalty before that, so it ends up being a 47-yarder, 36-yarder. Then even at the end to get us up to 16, I know we wanted to score a touchdown there, but getting that lead to 16 was critical there. So, I think he's been really steady. We're 14 games in now, so really conference season on for the most part, and we get a lot of confidence in him, and I know he does it himself. And we need to get points and not have empty possessions, and we continue to do that offensively, whether we scored a touchdown or kicked a field goal.
Coach, another deep run in the playoffs. Are you able to enjoy this run? Are you able to, I guess, soak in still the moments and these deep runs?
Yeah, I'd tell you this, I've thoroughly enjoyed coaching this football team. We're about 11 months in. We were in this room back on January 14th, and a lot of empty seats, and that was the start. And I told the guys, let's not worry about the guys that aren't here. We might add a few, like number 8 here, but we gotta go about our business each and every day, each and every week, each and every month to keep getting better. And they've done that. And this is an entirely new team in a lot of ways. New coaches, new players emerging, and that's evidence of a really good program. And that's what you're proud of. All the support we get, but just a fun group of guys that continue to answer the bell. So I think in the moment, yes, you keep moving forward, but I tell you this, I certainly enjoy coaching this football team.
Kenny, being a kid who's from this town, how cool is it to put on a show like that in front of your hometown?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I got high school friends and teachers and, family friends up in the crowd every single game. And so getting to represent my community and this town and this university has been a really awesome honor, and something I'm so grateful for and thankful for every single time I get to go out there and play. And just really cool experience, and glad I could, help the team win. So.
Katie, what are the emotions like graduating this morning from this school and then, getting right over here and getting into the game day routine?
Yeah, it was nice. It was kind of a day all about me. So had a nice morning this morning, and then got to go play football with my buddies. So it was a really great day. And I'm starting a master's next year, but it's good to finish that bachelor's, and that's something we try and do here is graduate guys. So I was glad I could be one of them. And I gotta go out there and have fun with the guys tonight. So.
You get one more home game. How excited are you for next week?
I'm really excited. I'm really excited to go out there and play my last game in Bobcat Stadium with the best effort and the best I can, and hopefully we can treat it just like any other game. It's a big game, but we've had success in just going 1-0 every week and never letting the moment get too big. So just focusing on what I need to do in my job and not letting the moment get too big, but definitely trying to go out on top and play well. So.
Kenny, this defense, 7 takeaways through the first 2 playoff games. What has the defense playing at such a high level at the most important time of the year?
What has us playing at one? You know, I think it has to do with our coaches. You know, I think Coach Howe does a great job of putting us in positions to be successful. All of our position coaches are really dialed. You know, all of them could be a DC on their own. You know, they're really exceptional coaches, and they really know what they're doing and how to put us in positions to be successful. And you know, we've just been able to go out there and execute. And so, just, you know, trusting the coaching, trusting each other, trusting the play call, and going out there and executing has really just been the recipe for success. So if we can just keep that going, I think we'll be good.